Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was you asking if you could hear me or the record, if I could hear you or the recording.
All right, are we good?
I think so. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Wow. Okay. Welcome to Global History Night, everybody. Take two.
Yeah, woo.
Uh, wow.
Maybe that's why you couldn't hear the music. Okay, I get it now. Something must have. I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking today with some people about how long we've been doing Zoom, because I was doing this meeting where people still can't figure out how to mute themselves when someone else is talking, so all your background noise goes through. And I was just like, okay, I fucking had it if you people can't figure this out.
Yeah, it's real easy to mute. I don't. Yeah, that's surprising. They don't know how to do that. Are you talking about your Twitch show?
My what?
Your Twitch
Oh,
show, right? The one that you.
no, there's one person there who can, always forgets to unmute. And that's, I mean, that's okay. But when people don't mute themselves, all their background noise picks up what other people are saying. And it's my prayer group and Bible study. And, there's some real ancient ladies there that are fine with the Zoom. So age is not an excuse.
Right. But you know what? It takes time to learn it. There's a lot of glitches and a lot of stuff to it that I can I mean, unless you just been on it a while, it takes a little bit to learn every different thing to it.
It's been a year.
I know, but I'm telling you like this. Even with me using it right now, there's a lot you have to do. Like for me to play music, I have to share the screen. It's a lot that has to happen in between that time to share music. But I like doing it because the more I do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah, but this is just people trying to have a conversation, just trying to have a plain old Zoom meeting. I mean,
I
I know.
know, but if they're not computer people, I could see it. There's a lot of trust me. My mom barely knows how to use a smartphone, so she barely even knows how to make a call on a smartphone. So I understand.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I hate to say it like that, but my mom is awful, and that's like making just calling somebody, let alone learning how to text and all the other stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm saying, it's the same fucking people. But, however, I was like grumping about it, but then it's like, man, I can't even imagine how all this time would have been if we hadn't had Zoom. We wouldn't have been able to do the show or anything.
Man,
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
have been crazy.
yeah. It's crazy right now, but it would have been a lot more crazy. So cool. Okay. I think I have it rigged up okay on Facebook. You have to you have to open up live and then turn your phone and okay. She wants me to
I'm gonna take a look at it, see how it looks.
okay.
I'm gonna go on your page and tell you.
Okay.
Let's take a look and check out Anna's page. Just so you guys know, this is Anna's historical radio night.
Yep. It's
We're doing a little engineer control.
yeah, we're working on it. But
But see what happens is by us doing this later on down the line, me and her are gonna be flawless on this.
yes, we're getting
Oh,
there.
it looks a lot. Yeah, okay. I can
Good.
see that.
Did it. Cool. Cool. Finally. Yeah. Yeah. We're really perfecting everything. So
Yeah, I see this. I like this.
good.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. And I haven't, I just really want to have it. I don't like my whole house and everything showing up on
You
you.
know, me either.
Yeah.
I need to add some of that background. You could add any background. I just haven't done it yet. But I got to add the background to it so it wouldn't, mine won't be the same way. Because I
Yeah.
see what you're.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a good one too. For a while I was just using images, which is kind of cool, but it's too easy to kind of disappear in them. And so when you use the actual Zoom ones, it works. It works.
Hey, Kristen. What's up, Kristen?
Hey, everybody. Kristen Woods Ponce is here. Really perfecting everything. Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good. I'm just tagging you on our on my page so everybody you know can listen. So
Okay. I shared it with a few people outside of Facebook because I saw that you tagged me, but then I couldn't find I couldn't find I couldn't find how to okay. I got your message. Okay. Well
okay, good. Yeah, well you can send them the YouTube link too.
okay. Yeah, I didn't get the tag yet, but I think I got it after the last one.
Okay, yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it now.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we were just
They keep doing updates and changing stuff, and then I don't know.
Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah. Then I was having all these problems today with my internet, but yeah, we're here. It's very cool. And okay, so we're gonna do a little bit. I want to do a little bit of news, just to make sure that I don't completely lose track of that. So some of the stuff we've been following, if that's okay. Okay. So we've been following Alexei Navalny, who is the Russian opposition leader, who's opposing Vladimir Putin. And so I grew up with this awareness of the Soviet Union. That's what it was at the time. And my family immigrated from that part of the world. So we were conscious of it because of that. And a story one of my great aunts told was she was in the United States and they were cut off from their family for years. And after the war ended, her mother called home and the relatives answered. They had a conversation and then they said, don't ever call here again. And that was because of Stalin. That was because they were in danger from that, which was really, that just always made a really big impression on me. And that part of the world went through World War II, but then they went through Stalin, who also committed massive human rights abuses and suppression. And then there was Brezhnev and probably some other ones in between. And under Mikhail Gorbachev, the Soviet Union broke up. So now we have all these different countries there. So, which is interesting. We're constantly trying to keep track of it there. So Alexei Navalny is running against Vladimir Putin, and he's just brave as hell. He's been jailed, he's been beaten up, and he has a movement of people behind him. And then Putin tried to poison him, and he was recovering in Germany and came back knowing that he would be arrested, and he was. And so there's been a lot of demonstrations out in the street. In Russia, what they do when people are in court is the defendant is in a cage. It's really weird looking when you look at Russian courts. Somebody will be in a cage. And so, and I've seen that before. And so I was watching Navalny's trial, and I was thinking, like, oh, he's just standing there. He's not in a cage. But it was actually this glass, not real glass, or this clear sort of thing. So he was in a cage, just not a barred one. And so the guards would bring him into it. Then he does a thing where he puts his hands through and puts it out. He was totally chill. He was joking with them, and his wife was in court, and so he was doing the heart signal to her. And his wife has been out leading the protests. So Navalny was jailed for 3 years for he was jailed. He was accused of something financial, and then he was jailed for 3 years for breaking parole. And there's currently a trial where he has been accused of libel against a World War II veteran. And Navalny is calling Putin the underpants poisoner. That's what they poisoned his underwear. That was when I followed Navalny for a while, but when I mentioned the latest to people, a friend of mine who doesn't follow the news that much was like, oh, the underwear guy. And I was like, yeah, okay. So he's famous for that. So I'm just sending sincere wishes to Navalny, and thinking and hoping, like, okay, it's just so different now with revolutions being able to play out on social media. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Bobby Wine, who has been running for president in Uganda, we followed him for a long time. He's a rapper. He's called the ghetto president. So he was under house arrest, and 50 people from his campaign team were arrested and haven't been heard from. His aides have been tortured. They put
Wow.
yeah, they didn't hide it or anything. You know how it is, like his Twitter, it says graphic content, but then the photo's just posted right there. So you don't really have a choice about seeing it. So they are attempting to bring Yoweri Museveni, the dictator of Uganda, to the International Criminal Court. So that's some of the stuff that's happened. Then there's been a coup in Myanmar. I follow human rights abuses a lot and genocide. So it's I don't want to get into, so basically, that's been my main interest in Myanmar, because the Rohingya Muslims there, who are stateless, were subject to genocide under the military rule. And the question all this time has been whether the prime minister and president have any power at all, or whether it's been the military. The military has just deposed them. And so it was probably them that were in power this whole time, and they are being tried without their lawyers. So that's some of the world stuff that okay. American and Egyptian archaeologists have unearthed what could be the oldest known beer factory at one of the most prominent archaeological sites. Okay, so this is, I find new examples of archaeological finds. I read about it like every week. It's amazing. Like, they're still finding stuff there. One of these days it would be pretty exciting. It gives hope that there's a lot more archaeological finds in other parts of the world, since Egypt has been dug up for so long. But yes, King Tut drank beer. So that's some of what's going on in the world. So
You are my news source because I don't watch TV. I mean, I watch Netflix here and there, but I will get my news source from people like you, or like my mom, or here and there. But I don't have the TV set up to tell me, okay, this is what's going on over here. So all of this is all like new to me. I haven't heard anything about this. So when people say things or they post things on Facebook and I'm like, well, what's going on? Because I have no idea what's going on. I try to stay off of it for the most part because I've been trying to focus more on certain things, so that I don't like you end up spreading yourself thin and you can lose it. So it's like if you're passionate about what's going on globally and you are sharing this information to people, if you're passionate about like certain things and you're trying to help out and do so, I'm trying not to spread myself thin and just focusing on just a few things. So, but it's good to hear it like when someone explains and tells me what's going on in different parts of the world, what's going on, So yeah, so I'm like I said, I'm just trying to keep it to a minimum.
Well, that's
but
good.
I still want to know what's going on. I just have to as far as my involvement in those things and as far as sharing that, with people, like I'll share, but I can't sit there and read when there's like I'd rather like for us to have a discussion about it, to talk about it, because I can't right now just sit down and okay, read this article and that article and then think, do they have the right information? Because there's, I don't know what, okay.
There's a little screen sharing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there's sometimes that they'll share something on Facebook and then it's like, oh no, this is not true. And so you really have to be careful with what you share to other people.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lot of important information out there, but then you want to make sure that what you're sharing to other people so that they know what's going on, that you're not misinforming other people, Yeah. So, but like I said, I'm trying to keep it, to a certain area. And I like hearing where other people are more knowledgeable than I am and can tell me like, hey, this is what's going on. And this is, they could share that with me. And so then I'm like, okay, now I have a better understanding of what's going on instead of just, I saw this one article and I'm going to take it and share it with everybody.
That's smart. Yeah. There's just so much information in the world. And I think you're doing the right thing by being selective. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy having different people on the show and going on Duck Soup, because they're talking about things that I'm not familiar with. So, yeah. So what were you started to tell me about something that the book that was really influential to you?
Oh, The Alchemist.
Yeah.
Have you read it, Roselle?
No. Oh.
Which one?
Because I know Anna said that she hasn't read it. It's called The Alchemist by Paulo.
No, I never read it. I just know a DJ or a producer named The Alchemist.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of it. No, it's a book. There's a book, and pretty much the what the book is about is it's about a sheep herder, and he has this dream that he finds like this treasure, but the treasure is in Egypt by a pyramid. And so he takes all of his money and he goes to, like, not to Egypt, but close to, so that he could travel. But he used all of the money that he had to get as close as he could to there. And I it's been some years since even though I've read it like 3 times, it's been some years since I've read it, but I think someone ended up stealing his money, and then he has to work in this tea shop or something like that for years. And so the whole moral of the story was about the journey that he went through and the things that he learned on the way there, only to find out that the treasure was where he left from.
That sounds like the Wizard of Oz.
Spoiler alert! Sorry.
That's
But
okay.
still, it's a really good book. It's a really good book. And it was like, every time I was going, like, struggling through something, I was just like, let me the first time I read that book, I was like, I have to read all of his books. And so I read all of the books that I could find that he had that was at the library. And I read all of them that summer. And then I still kept, like, going back to reading that book. And I let someone borrow it, and they never returned the book.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
like, I don't know, maybe she was able to pass it on to someone else that needed it too. So,
Right.
I'm not mad. But yeah, it was I think it's something that everyone should read.
Oh, wow. That's one of the ways I love to think. Because, yeah, I think, like, I have certain books, like, obviously people aren't going to, not like you're going to go do it, but yeah, certain books, certain films, like, what are the things, like, I don't know. I mean, if I was going to suggest books that I think everybody should read, I think, I think Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin would be one. And, that's just talking about fiction. I mean, so yeah, we got to go into different categories. But there used to be a TV show called Desert Island Discs, where you would need to pick the 10 albums you'd take with you to a desert island. And I do another podcast about the TV show Bewitched. And so there's certain episodes, like I was talking about one of them, and I'm like, that's my desert island Bewitched episode. Just, if you were going to be stuck forever, what could you keep? What would you want that's just so good to keep going back to? But I mean, I've reread the Harry Potter books a lot. So.
I never read the Harry Potter book.
Really?
I'm not a big reader, but I got into those books and I was like, well, let me keep the momentum going and just keep reading those books. So yeah, I'm not a big reader. But that, like, kind of got me into it. Mm-hmm. So I have, like, little moments where it's like I'll read a lot of different books, and then I'll just stop.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's kind of what I end up doing.
Okay, Roselle, if you were on a desert island, I mean, if you could only have, like, 5 albums, what would they be? And ask the DJ.
Ooh.
That's hard. 5? Really? What about 10?
However, I mean, 10. Yeah. Not like, what are a couple of the ones that you think are just, well, for me, it would be some operas, because that's my favorite music. But
that's a hard one. That's a hard one. That's a super hard one because I like all my music. Can I just take my flash drive with me?
You're like,
that's
one, just one.
not
That's very smart.
Okay, fine. What would you put on your flash drive in that? In your how
Oh
many gigabytes?
boy.
Yeah.
Man, see that's what I'm saying. If I have how big is the flash drive? How big are you guys giving me?
This show was on long before flash drives or even CDs. So it was albums back then. It was
I know.
records.
I know. I'm not gonna lie. That's a hard question for me. There's so much music I like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I can't even. I always like. I even feel like kind of like I'm going against the grain if I choose somebody. It's like I feel weird about it.
Why?
Like you're gonna leave. You feel like you're gonna leave someone out, and then you're like, oh, that person.
Exactly. See, Kristen knows what I'm talking. It's weird. If I say this one person, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna be like, man, I should have chose that person, and it just I can't do that. I'd be in trouble. That's why I said if I have a flash drive, I could put a little bit of everybody.
Flash drive. Oh, okay, look. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I suppose a lot of my favorite musicians are dead. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. But if you have the flash drive, think about it. They would relive through that flash drive.
Well, yeah.
Remember the shuffle? Remember the little shuffle?
The iPod Shuffle?
Yes. You know what I used to like doing? I used to like for people to just like, if I had a friend, just put whatever you like to listen to, and I can listen to different types. Because when you have like, just listen to different types of music. Because when you have now, when you're listening to music, you're like, skip. Okay, I don't want to hear that right now. I've heard that, like you just skip. But when it's on the shuffle, you just listen to whatever pops up,
Yep.
And so I used to love doing that. And I got like so many songs that I was just like, damn, I didn't even think to listen to. And it was really fun when I would just have friends just like put songs on my shuffle.
Yeah. Well, man, like with music, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I like Duck Soup, and I try and just keep up with what everyone's listening to. Cause yeah, you can't take it all in at all. And I mean, like with opera, there was, you can just like, there's operas I've listened to like hundreds of times, dozens of times. And after listening to one opera to the same composer, German composer, for about a year, I got to a point where I could understand it. I mean, I couldn't understand, I didn't know every word, but I could distinguish each word and hear it as a conversation. And that was listening to it constantly for a year. So you just can't keep up with everything. You gotta
send
some of your songs to me so that I can listen to them. Because I never got into opera. I've listened to classical music and mostly like when I was younger, because I was like when I was in ballet. But
you did ballet? Cool.
Yeah. So you want to say hi?
Hello.
No, come here. Okay. Well, don't distract me if you're not going to say hi.
Well, in opera, you talk about the war horses. Certain operas are called the war horses, and that means the really popular ones, the ones that are performed a lot. And so in a good opera season, what you want to do is have some war horses in there, some that are really familiar, and then mix it up with some ones that are performed less often. And so with some of the war horses, I also just call them starter operas. Like there's certain operas that if you like, okay, listen to this one, and if you don't like it, you're probably not gonna like opera's probably not for you, you know, because there's certain operas that just everybody loves. And you definitely, when people hear some of the music from that, you recognize them from films and TV and stuff. There's certain ones that even commercials that have really made their way into culture. But yeah, I'll send you some of my favorite ones. So
Hey, Ann, I got a question for you about opera.
okay.
Does opera kind of work like hip hop or like rock music? Does it kind of like, do they have like hardcore opera? Then like they got like a
Like
slow love ballads of opera,
They got hardcore and what else?
kind of like
like love
progressive
ballads,
type.
like an R&B version of opera, and then you have like your rock opera. Like this is like
Well,
hardcore
there's
rock opera.
well, I think you'd consider rock operas to be musicals. I mean, there's Tommy. I mean, that's called a rock opera.
So there's
So
no like hardcore opera. Like I can't like listen to something and be like, oh man, dude, that's like kind of hard for opera. No.
well, you could, okay, I would consider there was a stage of opera in the mid 20th century where there's some more experimental opera that doesn't have a melody. And that was something I believe which was popular that a lot of people were trying out at the time. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I like a melody. So there's that. Wagner, the composer I was talking about, who I've listened to a ton of times, that is considered hardcore because he does operas which are 6 hours long. So there's people that don't there's people that really enjoy opera that will just say like, no, I don't want to go to a Wagner opera. And there's people that mainly listen to Wagner and not other operas, which I think is kind of ridiculous because they kind of like to take on the cult sort of thing. And so that's just not that interesting. That doesn't really make sense to me. And when you listen to more opera, I mean, all these guys, a whole lot of composers, they learned from each other. And it's just one of the things that's really exciting. And then when you listen to opera that came afterward, certain composers, then you recognize it. And one of the Porgy and Bess, which is by George Gershwin, which is just a wonderful, wonderful opera. And Gershwin died when he was only 38, which is really sad. I think he would have written more, and he would have, I don't know, he would have like put the US up in stature a bit. And there's wonderful operas by US composers. I mean, if anybody ever tells you they don't like operas in English, they are full of shit. That's just something people say that to try and sound really sophisticated, but they just sound dumb. I mean, there's wonderful, I mean, English can be beautiful. And then there's also people that say they don't like German opera. I mean, that's just stupid. That's like, you don't want to eliminate an entire language. They just are. It's actually funny because I think that becoming educated and knowledgeable should make you more appreciative of other things and more interested in things. Like, I mean, I've seen world-class opera, but I mean, I also really enjoy going to community theater and going to hear like student performers of opera. I enjoy that too. So, and with anything, I mean, it's just So that's just ridiculous to me. I mean, if you're really going to study something, it should, the goal, I don't think the goal should be to eliminate other things. And that just doesn't make sense to me. There's some stuff where people will talk about like certain operas that amateurs shouldn't perform, and with some of it, it's just because certain parts are so hard to sing, and when you hear somebody singing something that their voice just can't handle, I mean, that's just horrible. You just feel like they're in pain. But yeah, or to me, it's like enjoyable to watch. It's like if you're going to go see a kid's performance of something, it's cool. You don't need to get an attitude about it. So, okay, so that's, where was I going with this? So that's, okay, so George Gershwin and his, like, Porgy and Bess brings in some jazz, but it's also very, very classical. So Gershwin was just doing something with music that not many people have been able to do. But opera is really expensive to produce, and the United States doesn't subsidize the arts as as other countries do. So it's just very, very hard for people to get their work produced and performed. And then you have the problems of bias and structural racism and structural sexism and all of that. So for people to get their creative work out is just such a struggle. And yeah, so it's just, so basically I think there's a lot of talent and wonderful music out there, and it's just important to try and keep talking to people and finding out about it, because it's not necessarily going to show up on the radio. And with opera, a lot of people do just want to see the same old things. And so if you want to go to a season of opera to subscription, that's real old school. Like when I was a kid, my parents had subscriptions to the opera or the theater company or something. And so when I got older, I would get subscriptions to things, and I still do sometimes. I mean, depending on if I can afford it, but it's just much less common now. It's not, people pick and choose more. So that's really difficult for opera companies, because if you have, I mean, that's one of the reasons I subscribe and I don't get them, is that way, if they get subscriptions, then they have the money at the beginning of their season and can pay for stuff. And if you just have people hopping around going to different things, which I do for theater, I can't, when I used to go to more theater, I just wouldn't subscribe to a season because I wouldn't want to see a whole season. It was too expensive. And I would go around to different performances. You can't subscribe for rush tickets or for half price, or for half price tickets or for standing room. So with opera, I mean, since still a lot of people that like opera are older, so I guess we still have the subscription mentality. So for us, it would just be exciting each year to find out what the season was going to be, because then you'll be like, okay, that'll be like 5 or 6 operas spread out over the year, and you could be looking forward to it. Me and my dad, we would just talk about it constantly. It's like we talk about opera and we talk about dogs. And so you want to get a mixture of the real popular, well-known operas that more people will pay to see, and some other ones which some of the rest of us that have been going to opera our whole lives really want to see. We don't want to see the same stuff all the time. But then when you'll get a season where you'll look at it and you'll see, like, okay, out of 5 operas, there's 4 war horses. And, like, for example, I mean, I'm 53 and I've seen Don Giovanni 6 times. And I've had long gaps of not going to the opera. And so by the time somebody gets to my dad, and I'll still keep seeing it. My dad will too. He doesn't even know how many times he's seen it, but we don't just want to see stuff we've seen lots of times. We want to see new stuff. So when they don't mix it up, people like us are just like, well, we're not going to subscribe because you are clearly just trying to bring in people that are less familiar with opera that would be like, oh, cool, we want to go see an opera, and make the whole season for them. And that's fucked up.
Hey, how much is usually a charge to go see an opera? How much is it?
Okay, there is a big range. Like, you can get like for anywhere between $25 and $300.
So it's well, no.
Well, depending on on your seat.
Yeah, I was going to compare it to a football game, but football games are more.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's why one of the things that you try and explain to people and is like, to produce an opera, you'll have your principal singers, but in a big opera, you'll also have a chorus, and everybody in the chorus are really good singers too, and will have had music degrees and practice. I mean, they practice practice about as much for a smaller part as for a larger part. And then you have your set designers and costumers. So there is a tremendous amount of work and effort that goes into making an opera. And ticket sales, generally ticket sales cover about half of what it costs an opera company. They need to really they need to get donations big time. Is there
like groups that bring awareness so that people are exposed, like children, teenagers, adults, like just everybody is exposed to, they're like, hey, listen to this. Are there groups that expose them to that so that they can be interested in it?
Yeah.
Are there?
Yeah, they try. They really try. And
I've never been approached by anybody that was just like, hey, have you been to the opera? Would you how do they approach people? How do they connect with people?
It's a real problem because I mean, and it's really like, one of the things they do is like, there'll be opera is put like in San Francisco, they'll put on a free opera in the park once a year, and they have an opera, I think, that they'll put on like in the stadiums. And so they do stuff like that. They try and get it out on,
but nothing like outreach where they're like going to schools or going to community centers and like, hey, listen to this, and maybe we're going to have this event, kind of like a teaser for them, and then draw them into going to the events, and then bringing people in that may want to donate or whatever.
There's some, definitely. And and I have this happen. It's real hard to get. I mean, the schools, are full. The schools have all they can do doing their thing. So there isn't so certainly at the public schools, there's very rarely any time for it. And so, I mean, private schools have more flexibility. So sometimes there will be outreach to them. But that's really hard. It's really hard to try and break out. One of the things, I was at a opera event one time, and they were talking about, having special prices for younger people. And I was the only one there that had friends that couldn't afford the opera. People are like, oh, so people, unfortunately, people can be really narrow in what they do. And I mean, so, it's kind of fluctuated for me a lot over the years as far as like how much money I have to spend. And so, like I've done standing room a lot, and standing room is packed. There's always a lot of people that want to stand. And so that's pretty fun. I mean, you meet people so I've done it for like the really long operas. Yeah, I mean, it's just real. Then they'll put on, there will be opera events at libraries, but it's very hard. And you get into the problem of, it really costs money to do that, because you need to have staff to do events like that you need to pay them. So it's just really hard, I mean, it's one of,
they're not promoting it enough
can,
because
can you speak up a little bit, Kristen?
No, I was saying that it sounds like they're not promoting them enough, because if there was people that were like really passionate about it, they'd be able to draw in more people. You know what I mean?
Well, there are. I mean, I'm telling you stuff that does happen. It's just, and there are people that are very passionate. And if it's on the there's opera on the radio with people speaking. It's like what you were saying about not being able to keep up with all the news and everything. I mean, it's a very big, complicated world. And so, like, one of the things, like they will do simulcast sometimes of operas on the film, at movie screens, and that's still not cheap to go to. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult, I mean, but part of there used to be music education in the schools, and that is where a lot of people would learn about classical music and opera, and now there hardly is, which sucks. So, they try and like promote rush ticket, promote stuff to young people, which I don't necessarily agree with. I mean, I think that they should
the money.
Well, but as I said, I mean, I know lots of people that can't afford the opera that want to go. So I think that they should, do half price tickets for veterans. They do have them for seniors now. I just sort of feel like I don't feel like, for me, I am more, there's a lot of people that would like to go to the opera and can't afford it. To me, they are a lot more important than like, come here, millennial. I want to show you something. I mean, people find shit out by themselves. I'm like, I was taken to the opera when I was a kid, but I started to get real into it when I was in my 20s. And, I started going to standing room. And so I don't know, man. I think young people can figure shit out for themselves personally. So I don't know.
Anna.
Yeah.
Anna, we got Spider from
Hey,
Duck Soup in the house. What else,
Yay,
Spider?
Spider. Hey, man.
Hello, guys. I like your background.
Thank you. Have you met Kristen?
I haven't met anybody. I'm just chilling. I met Roselle one time. A couple times. I think he came over to my house and bought over some chicken, like it was a nice gesture or something. A kinship or gesture of blackness right there, right, Ro? Here's some chicken.
You know what it was?
Can I get some?
You offer somebody the last meal when you're about to whoop them on Madden. It was like the last meal.
Oh, wow.
If you were playing Madden,
Did you sneak that in, really? Okay. Okay. All right. I'll let you have that. It's okay. I did like the chicken.
Yeah, that chicken is bomb, dude. That is some good chicken.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I would have never known about it. You know what? There's one in Albany too. I don't know
Is
if it's
there?
the same, but
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
was looking it up. There's one in Albany too.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. We found the oasis of chicken restaurants.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
the best chicken
yes.
you ever have in your life.
Oh.
Where?
Much props.
California.
In
I guess
Albany?
Much props to Vons. You
Mhm.
better thank Spider, man, because Spider got you a new customer.
For sure. Best
Maybe
fried
you could
chicken
get
you
them
have
to
in
be a
your life.
sponsor for Duck Soup.
I know. We can use the chicken on the dog, man. How's everybody doing tonight? What is the topic of the day?
We were talking about opera for quite a while, and yeah, which was pretty cool. We were catching up on some global stuff, and then American and Egyptian archaeologists have uncovered a beer factory. So we now know that King Tut liked beer.
That's amazing. I'm so happy for him. Exactly. See,
Yeah.
that's all right. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. So have you been watching The Sopranos?
You know what? I stopped. I watched that one episode like we had discussed the last time, and then I stopped. I watched a little bit of WandaVision. I watched I don't know, that's it. I haven't really been watching a lot of TV. Besides the Capitol Invasion. That was pretty cool, right? The pay-per-view we saw a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Reality TV at its finest.
Oh God. Yeah.
What else did we see? Or did I see? That's it, man. That was all excitement. I'm
Mhm.
boring.
Yeah. Kristen, are
You're
you
saying yeah, like I'm boring. Like, yeah, you are. You're fucking boring.
believe me, I do not think you're boring, man.
I know.
Not at all.
Yes,
You
yes.
are extremely unboring.
Oh, man.
I was like, no, I was bummed because I really want somebody to talk about The Sopranos with me.
I'm sorry. I'll get caught up. Okay, I just sort of like I did it, and then I'm like that all over the place. So I'll get back on target.
There's 86 episodes, so
Okay, so I'm like I'm 85 away from where we can talk.
okay.
Right.
No, we can, each one is just so deep. You can talk about them. We were talking about these guys. Roselle won't even I was asking him like what 5 records Roselle won't even answer me about which music he would take to a desert island if he wasn't able to listen to music again. That's kind of how we got started talking about opera.
I can answer that one. I was Roselle. You couldn't answer. You're a DJ. Oh, that's why. Because he's
Right.
You know
carrying
what's worse?
thousands of records.
That's what makes it even worse, Spider, is the fact I'm a DJ. You know how many songs I like?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, there's no way you can even do that. No. His career is like built around having lots of records. Top 5. I don't know. Let's see. I would need a lot of hip hop. Nothing murderous because who am I gonna kill? Some fish? I mean, like I'll be by myself. So I'm gonna need some
Get out on the
soothing
crabs,
music.
on the land crabs. Kill the land crabs.
Yeah, companionship music, right? Like it'll be all right, type of shit. Reggae probably. That'll probably be good.
Yeah. Something
I don't know.
upbeat, I guess.
What do you think Tom Hanks was wishing for when he was on that island? You think he wished he had some Beatles?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah,
he would have
I wish
enjoyed
had
that.
anything besides that damn ball, right?
I have a friend
Right.
that hates the Beatles. Do you guys know anybody that hates the Beatles?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I have one friend that hates the Beatles, but
Age hates the Beatles. Age Scott hates the Beatles.
okay, I have
a
2
friend that
friends.
hates the Beatles. Okay, why?
How can Age? No, I don't believe. Come on,
Why does he? Yeah,
not.
I said that.
Samples them.
Yeah, I was just.
I know. That's why I said that. I was gonna see who was gonna catch on to that.
That's what I was just. Yeah.
I caught on. Yeah.
The Beatle Age is like the loves to be. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
When
what I
he
was
sees this
thinking.
on the
I'm
show,
like,
he's
I
gonna be
went to a
like,
record
Roselle,
shop.
I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, I went to a record shop with him, and he was like picking out Beatles artists from records that I was pulling up, and I was like, I didn't even know like those.
Well,
were...
no, but if he's Age, if you were listening, you see, I caught on, man. I caught on.
Yeah, skills. So you
And he has that movie, man. What's that movie? The Yellow Submarine.
Oh,
Yeah.
Age has the
has
movie. Yeah, he has the Yellow Submarine movie.
Age is totally a fan. Yeah. Yeah. So, what else is new? in
Well,
the world?
this is a story that's kind of sad. There's a locked up princess named Latifa from Dubai. About 3 years ago, these recordings were released of this young woman, and she's a princess from Dubai, and she's one of like 35 children or something, because her father has eight wives. She has the same, some of the daughters even have the same names. Like, he doesn't even bother to think up new names for them. So she
I'm not
tried,
laughing, but that shit is that's some joking shit right there.
I know,
I don't even know what to name you. Just name what was the last one?
yeah, we ran out of names.
Don't bother me with it. Just figure it out.
Yeah, basically. But so she tried to escape from Dubai, and they did this whole like, she had tried when she was in England like 20 years ago, and was caught, and her dad like fucking had her locked up and tortured. And so in 2018, recordings were released of her saying, it was an interview. It was recording her saying, if anybody sees this, it means I'm in a really bad position, because she tried to escape with a friend of hers, and they were in a boat off the Indian Ocean, and these Indian stormtroopers came in and dragged her out. So,
So they got her out.
Pardon?
She's safe, right? She's okay?
No, they dragged her back.
The Indians did.
Yeah, and handed her over to Dubai.
Wow, they must have paid them off. Damn.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Because the Indians don't normally get along with, the rest of that world. They're usually in their own little pocket. They've been having their little squirrels with Pakistan, so I'm surprised to hear that
with the money that Dubai has.
I'm saying it. They
exactly. They'll do anything.
Here's some elephants on top of it. Here you go.
So some more videos were just released. She's been locked up in a villa for 3 years. It was really sad, because you could see like she's emaciated, and so
how is she getting videos out?
A phone was smuggled into her somehow.
Got it.
Yeah,
that's really sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. And so what's wild about their life is that she met one of the people she made friends with was her skydiving instructor. She goes skydiving, she goes scuba diving, but she's not allowed to go to school or have a job. And that's some of the stuff she was talking about. So
a lot of kids in Beverly Hills would have died for that kind of opportunity. No school and just skydiving, really? I mean, come on.
Well, but
no,
I mean, it's like she was a prisoner. It's like she gets taken to her skydiving in an armored car, and then
Can you imagine that though? Like,
yeah,
most prisoners don't get to go skydiving as their option. Most prisoners get to go to the hole. She's like, you ain't got to go to school.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean,
crazy, right?
She was also, but that was before she's also been ccaped and kept in solitary confinement.
That's what I mean. It's so weird, right? Like the level of okay, we're gonna torture you on Wednesday.
It's really weird.
And
yeah, and she doesn't. I mean, she was dressed like normal. I mean, she wasn't dressed like all Middle Eastern bag over her head and stuff. She's totally normally dressed. So
I'm trying to think if Dubai policy like that, because my brother took my mom out there. And I think my mom didn't have to wear the whole outfit, but it could have been just because she was a guest. So
if you're guests don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, so but it was really sad. I mean, she but of course, I mean, if you think about how, this person's a monster. If that's how he treats his own flesh and blood, he is, what would he do to, so that's just got to be a pretty terrible place to live. I mean, if he's going to treat his family that way, other people are going to be treated a lot worse.
I saw
So
this interesting documentary about Dubai and its development and how like the working class there don't have enough money to actually live in the good parts, but they work their asses off. And so they got it like they get people from I think it was like Nigeria and stuff like people that come over there and they work in Dubai and work their like construction because you know they're always building freeways and stuff.
oh
Right? Like,
yeah.
always building stuff in there. And so they bring these people in, and all those people that are working there, they cannot afford anything in there. So they have this little small area for the worker force. It's hella far off, I guess. And they were just like bringing light to it. Like people think about Dubai as being this mega rich, everybody's rich thing. Everybody's driving Lamborghinis, and like they were saying, nah, bro, that's just like the people that are, you know, that's not the majority of us. We're over here. And I was crazy. It was like, hey, welcome to America, but you in Dubai.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, America is just becoming more. I mean, I think America has become more and more like other countries so far as like the gap between the rich and the poor gets bigger and bigger. Just seems like it just the richer some people are, the poorer other people are.
Well, in America, we have this weird love-hate relationship with the rich, especially the super rich that can get away with saying that they're not really rich. I don't know how that works, but whatever.
Yeah.
To the fact that they'll show up in front of their house like waving American flags like did you see that? They
No.
found out that this I'm not going to bring his name up, but the guy we don't talk about came home and
Yeah.
they were on the news talking about how it was on the spur moment. All these patriots came out to welcome him and they were all there like 4th of July and shit. And it comes to find out that this dude had set this whole thing up, had called everybody, got everybody flags, told everybody exactly what to bring, and had it all set up, and then went on their favorite news station and told everybody it was a spur of the moment thing. And they had pictures of all the flags and all these people. So think about all the times that they've been saying these people just showed up for him. Spur of the moment. It's not true. It's not true. They found out. They were announcing these moments, these rallies and shit. It's not it's random people just showing up. Anyways,
Yeah.
theories.
Yeah.
That was
So
more or less to bring to your attention about the rich people and how in America we are more influenced by them than in other countries how they are. We think of in other countries they think of rich people as being like the oppressors, right? Like how you're speaking. But here, man, we want to be rich, man. We want that. It's weird.
well, I think people want to be rich everywhere. I mean,
Can we talk about?
I don't know.
can you-
I think some people have
Chris, can you speak up a little bit, please?
Oh, sorry. Can we talk about what happened with the stock market
Sure.
with GameStop and that and how they limited people from buying stocks? Because I want to learn more about what happened. What happened? Because I feel like that was, you know, the hedge funds, they do that all the time. And then as soon as a group of people who don't have millions, billions of dollars get together and they're like, you know what, let's go buy all of this stuff. And then they limited everyone. And then they just like put a freeze or like, oh, we're not doing this right now.
Yeah. No, but they did. They kind of played it funny. Do you want to take it, Anna, or do you want to?
You go ahead because I don't know that much about it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm a techie
Yeah.
guy. I'm a computer
Cool,
science teacher, and so this was kind of fun because I'm also a gamer. So
Yeah.
let me a little brief history about GameStop. First off, it is every millennial's like favorite place to be. You can imagine like we're 80s babies, right? So we love Toys R Us. Toys R Us was our shit.
Mhm.
It was where we grew up. For them, it's GameStop. So the GameStop in recent years, because of Amazon and these new tech industries coming in, it's been losing a lot of money. Nobody's buying, disc games, and even like Microsoft and like these bigger companies were hinting at or flirting with the idea of like going discless. So a lot of these people were like, well, you're trying to get rid of GameStop. You guys are like messing with our favorite store, right? Millennials got real antsy about it. So they're also the people that are into these forums, these Reddits and these posts, and they're really into it, right? And so when you have a combination like that, you piss off a bunch of millennial, former 99%ers,
Mhm.
99%ers, yeah, Occupy Wall Street guys. You piss those guys off, and what you're targeting is their favorite store, they're going to figure out a way. And what they did was they got on this little Reddit, which is a forum. Think about like Facebook, but way less simplified. So it's like a real forum. And they got together and they said, hey, we're going to make these like Wall Street. Well, there's this guy named Wall Street Bets or something like that. He was doing this post where he was just picking like these stocks that were being hedged. I'm sorry if I'm taking a lot of time. Were being hedged so that they would always stay low. And hedge means like you bet on the stock to be low so you can make money. If the company does good, then you lose money because you're betting for it to stay low. You basically borrowed that investment and you're holding it until that investment goes down enough that you can sell it and then give it back to the owner so you can get a profit. It's a really stupid scheme, right? Yeah. Nobody can do it. You can't go and borrow your friend's house, sell your friend's house, and then come back or sell your friend's house when it goes down and then come back and give it back to your friend and keep the profit, can you? No, you can't do that. Buy it back and keep the profit. You can't do that. But hedge funds can't do that. They can do that with businesses. So that's what they were doing to GameStop, these kids' favorite store. They were like banking on it going down and banking on its downfall. So these kids got together and said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to just go in there and buy GameStop at like $2 a share, which it was at that time. This dude did it on his own.
$2?
Basically like less than $2 a share, basically, right? It was like $1.50 or something like that. It was really low. Don't quote me on it. It was just real low. And so he bought like 50,000 shares or some ridiculous amount, right? He just put his money in it. Nobody else was doing it. And he was like, guys, come with me. You know, that one moment, right? You coming with me, come with me, right? Did that shit online. And all these kids were like, fuck yeah, we're doing it too. Let me throw $10 here, $10 here. And they would get their little change.
Damn.
College money, buy some GameStop stock, right? And so what ended up happening was GameStop started creeping up a little bit. And these hedge fund companies were like, whoa, wait, what's going on? Nobody's actually going to the store because who buys games, right?
Yeah.
We download them. So they were getting scared, like, what the fuck is going on here? And in order for them to keep their money, they would have to sell their stock to keep whatever they could, keep. But it was getting to the point where GameStop was going higher than what they would actually had bought the stock for or borrowed the stock originally. So they were starting to lose money. So they had no other choice but to invest back into the stock market, which rose the price of the stock even higher. So those kids that had bought those shares were making money, and they were also getting their friends to then put in. So by the time it was like $10, the entire America millennial system had gotten into it. And those shareholders had a problem on their hands because that stock went from $5 to $20, and that little that pocket bankrupted like 3 hedge funds that day. Do you remember that? There were like 3 hedge funds that had to be bankrupt. And that's when
it was 3? I thought it was just 1.
No, I think 3 of them became bankrupt in that one day. And they were like, oh shit. Yeah. And that's why they went to Robinhood and they're like, can you secure these funds? Can you guarantee all of these people that are buying these stocks right now, if they were to take their money out, can you pay them? Are you backed by that much? And they were like, I'm not sure if we really are. They really were. But they're basically the guy that owns Robinhood, some of the shareholders apparently are also some of the hedge funding. So they were mad. They're like, man, our product's out here helping these little guys fuck us over. Right?
Wow. Same shit they were doing yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So they shut the shit down. And all that did was they shut down the buying. So people like me, if I wanted to buy like 5 more shares, couldn't. But the people that were already hedge funding and selling it, hoping it was going to go back down, as soon as all the kids that were scared what was going to happen, they started selling it because they wanted to get out. And that made it go down. And hedge funds were like, keep going, because you couldn't buy much. So everybody just started selling and it went right back down to like $50. It was sad. Or 150. It was really sad. Fucked up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, that was a bit of a spill.
Yeah, that was,
well, thank you for breaking it down for me, because I asked somebody online and I was just like, what happened? Because my friend, my cousin has Robinhood and she didn't get in on the GameStop. She was doing some other stuff, but another friend did. And he was like, yeah, but he didn't explain what happened. So thank you for explaining that to me. And it's just like, damn.
I think Robinhood is what is making people interested in investing, because before this, like, it was so hard to understand the concept of a broker and how
Yeah.
to take
Mhm.
funds and remove them from the bank and give a little bit of certain with them. What would they call that? Not mortgage. Starts with an M. Anyways, I'm high. I can't remember. You would have to have some buffer in order to guarantee that you could borrow that fund. Now you could just get the app and you could connect your debit card to it. And you could be like, I want to put $100 in my little Robinhood. And then like this weekend, I'm about to find me some stocks. Bam! That made people,
Oh.
that leveled the playing field. So
Mhm.
You think so? Or do you, I mean, I just,
yes, yes, totally. You know how many
It-
people use
but-
Robinhood?
But the fact that they put limits, was it just for GameStop, or was it for all, like, were they just like putting kind of like a freeze, like, wait a minute, wait, let us figure out what's going on here? Because was it that type of situation, or was it just for
Yes.
GameStop?
Well, there's a couple of things that were happening. It was also a couple of other stocks like AMC, right? I've had Robinhood
Yeah.
forever. So I've watched AMC stay at $2 a share. And I've always looked at it and go, no, I'm not buying that shit. Fuck that. Right. And so AMC got picked up. Bed Bath and Beyond. Dogecoin is the new thing. All of these stocks, just people are talking about them in a forum sense. And that's also kind of a blurry line, because you're really not supposed to have like a grouped cohesive jump on the stock market. Like people aren't supposed to really like talk about it in a group and go in together individually like that. That's kind of illegal, I believe. But this was in a forum, so it really technically wasn't like, hey, let's get all of our business billionaires together and we're all gonna buy this stock because we're gonna flood it.
oh, right. It's
What
like,
else has been? But that's the same thing that's been going on, right? With
That's kind of what is really been going on, but you're not allowed to talk about it. It's one of those like laws that if you don't like get in a
Okay.
room and say, hey guys, you want to just go
Okay.
buy that stock or sell all of that shit? No, they just know because they all fucking go to dinner with each other and shit. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just the known.
Assholes.
Yeah. And so they're mad when
Yeah.
we figure it out, right? Figure out how to undercut them and then they
Yeah.
go, oh, no, can't do that. Shut them shit down. You guys can't even you can't guarantee their holds. If they all ran and sold their stock, would you be able to give them their money? No, you wouldn't. So you go bankrupt. So that's what they pulled on Robinhood. Robinhood was like, okay, fine, we'll reinvest, we'll make sure that we have insured for over $1 billion or something like that. And that's why they had to open it, because that was their like claim. So
who came out ahead?
who came out ahead? Nobody.
Well, yeah, that's,
Everybody got a shitty end of the stick, except for that guy that invested initially, Wall Street, whatever his name was. He's been on CNN, he's been on Fox, so he's got a little bit of fame behind him, and also he made I think they said like $40 million off GameStop at one point. So if he
Get back to the community.
yeah, but we're not, but you know, you got to be looking at, you know, leveling the playing field just because everybody loses. I mean, to me, it just, anything that people get too excited about makes me nervous, because that's just not how most, you know, that's just not how most stuff work. You know, I mean, anybody, when people start thinking something will really change their lives or like get rich quick, it always makes me nervous, because that virtually never happens.
But is it that, or is it the fact that, like, because what was the person's home? Was it to do that and then also say, hey, look what I did, and kind of messed your game up, or what you guys have been doing for years and years and years?
Yes,
was
that
it
was initially
that, or was it both?
Thing,
because if it was both, hey.
Yeah. I don't blame them when it comes down to it. And this is what they're saying about brick and mortars. Like, these kids are really attached to some of these brick and mortars. You guys are like, you know, they expected to have jobs when they were 16 at these stores. And you guys are talking about closing them. That's messed up. You know, so it is what it is. That's why Jeff Bezos is not a friend of this new era. And I don't want to say millennial, but millennial and after, you know, all these next gen kids.
Yeah,
they are totally hippied out a little bit. You feel me? Brick and mortar-y. You feel me? Like,
well, yeah, of course, but you know, I mean, people can say that, but you know, and hopefully, I mean, that is like coming out of the pandemic, I mean, hopefully it will be a chance for more entrepreneurship. But yeah, it's just, I mean, if everybody, it's just like, okay, if you like get it so that everybody loses, that's cool, but the rich people still have something to fall back on, and other people don't. So
Well, they always have something to fall back on. That's why they're rich.
well, yeah, so
It's hard to make
I don't
them-
know, I don't know. I mean, I would have liked it to be a success story, but it doesn't sound like it, Maybe that's partially why I don't really follow that stuff. But yeah, man, thanks for explaining that. It's just,
Yeah, no problem. What else is interesting out here in the world?
lots of stuff. Okay. And there's going to be an election in Palestine, or the Palestinian Authority has an election coming up, and a Hamas-run Islamic court in the Gaza Strip has ruled that women require the permission of a male guardian to travel, further restricting movement in and out of the territory. Well, that territory is already blockaded. So, I mean, that's just interesting, because you would hope that it wouldn't, I mean, it just makes me so nervous with any parts of the world that start like becoming more regressive so far as the rights for women. I mean, Saudi Arabia just, they said they want a fucking cookie for like making women now in Saudi Arabia now no longer need to get permission from a male relative to travel. And then also in Saudi Arabia, Lujan Ahlul, who pushed to end a ban on women driving in Saudi Arabia, was released. She was held for about 3 years and was tortured and abused. I mean, fucking brave as hell. So
my sister lived in Saudi Arabia with my stepmom for many years, and actually they were doing the English teaching. They would do Saudi Arabia and Lebanon, and man, they were telling me some stories, man. They had friends out there and everything, and yeah, it's a little different. They said they would never like, I'm really doing that no more. But they also said that there was a lot of positive stuff about it, and they have a lot of good friendships. But yeah, I'd have to like, I wish my sister would my sister's in New Mexico, so it's not like you can Zoom.
Wow, yeah, you got your family is very well traveled. Some interesting stories.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah, we're all over the world.
Yeah, seriously. Well, Biden is supposed to be reevaluating the relationship with Saudi Arabia, and Trump was talking about imposing sanctions on the Houthi rebels in Yemen, and fortunately, because that is one of those things where all it would have hurt were people, because it would have meant there's already a famine there, and it would have it would have stopped even more aid boats from getting in. So the State Department issued something just trying to say like, okay, well, we're not doing not doing the blockade doesn't mean we're backing down. Like that. Oh, and Biden gave a press conference today and said that by July, everybody who wants a COVID vaccine should be able to get it. Oh, and then this is a hell of a story. An 83-year-old man who was incarcerated at age 15 was freed from prison. He'd been in prison for
I seen that.
Did you see that? Yeah.
Did they find out he didn't do anything wrong?
No, the Supreme Court ruled that that imposing mandatory life sentences on juveniles was constituted cruel and unusual punishment, and that it was unconstitutional.
It took them this long to figure. Oh man!
But what was it? What was it for? What was it for?
Like murder and murder. I mean, killing people, supposedly.
85 years, 2020. That puts it in time.
I mean, 68. I mean, 68 years ago, I mean, a 15-year-old African-American young man, I mean, who knows I mean, he said he didn't do it, and, it's doubtful he got a fair trial. And even if whatever, it's not fair, so he was actually offered parole, but he wouldn't take parole. He waited until he was released because he felt like he didn't want to get out of prison and then still have restrictions on himself. But wow. Yeah. So you saw that too, Rizzo?
Yeah, I saw that. I feel bad for him, man. He didn't know. He really didn't know when he went through the whole system. From what I was reading, he really didn't know. He probably would have paroled if he would have known better. But to me, it seemed like he really didn't.
A couple years ago.
I know, but dude, the way it was, he just literally was just thrown in prison. He was in a bad situation, man. I'm just glad I wasn't. I would hate to be thrown in prison back then. That just was not.
But the thing is too is that if he went in as 15 years old, right, and then he gets out, and then does he have to pay? He has to pay his probation officer, right?
No, he was released. He's not on
No, but I mean, like, if he went out on parole.
Well, he would have needed to check in with his probation officer.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the PO. It's not like the PO probably would have been like work tracking down an 83-year-old man too hard. But no, I mean, he wanted
literally in jail in 1961.
Even longer.
No, that's when if he's 85 right now, he's 15 when he went in. That's 60 that's 60 years.
8 years. He was in jail for 68 years.
68. So then okay. So then that's still a long ass time.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
50,
yeah.
You're talking about 50,
that's almost like triple life.
Dude. That's 1952, like Eisenhower.
Yeah. All of
he served three life sentences.
Yeah. I mean, there's an organization that's going to be just looking out for him and helping him out to
totally
whatever. Yeah. Because all of his family's dead.
Oh shit, you wasn't joking. There are no more black and white faucets. This nigga was really oh man, he was happy.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine that? It's like Captain America.
Yeah.
And then like, what is this? How?
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Shit, they didn't even have push button phones back then.
They didn't have
They
rotary
said
phones
when he
back
got
then.
out, the first thing he looked at was all the buildings. He couldn't believe how many buildings and how high they were.
The skyscrapers were what surprised him the most.
He was tripping off of that.
Blood, that's like going into time. Like, imagine if you like stopped right now and then 60 years later you woke up.
Yeah.
Damn.
Hey, that's what happens to people in prison. When they go to prison, time stops.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
So let me ask you, Roselle, because I know that I don't want you to interfere in any of your work, but as far as correction is concerned, when you see these prisoners like that, do you have? I know you have empathy for them because you're a good person, but do you feel like some of them have the ability to rebound, even with their almost indefinite like punishment? Do you feel me? Do you ever see that one that's like, man, I know you're gonna get out, you'll be all right? It's like
I think some of them will be all right, but I think some of them, let's just say in that guy's case, there's some guys that are too old. They're like their minds are still young, but when they're getting out, they're coming out like 60, 70 years old, what they think like they're 20.
Yes. That's what I was wondering.
I had one dude, this dude was 70 years old, like literally 70, right?
Yeah.
He came up to me, man, I know there's hella hoes out there still, right? Is there like a lot of hoes, man? Because I'm gonna give me a cat. I'm like, dude, you're like, I didn't tell him that, but I'm like, yeah, there's girls out here, dude. There's women out here, and
But
you know,
because
it's
you're talking about like he's still mentally stuck. That's what you mean about
yeah,
time.
he's still acting like he's 20. It was
Oh,
weird.
shit.
He came at me asking me because I guess he was getting ready to parole or get out.
Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah. I
He,
got
in
you.
his mind, he was there for a while. This dude killed somebody, and he was from Quentin, and they sent him to my place, Solano, and then he's gone. But
Yeah.
anyway, his mind is still like a 20-year-old.
You know what? Do they do anything for that aspect? Because
Like
that's
try to integrate them into what, like what's
yeah.
But I mean, as
They
far
have,
as the treatment of that specific disability, what that would be.
Well, what they do, like Kristen said, before they leave, I think like a few months before they leave, they have these classes to where they try to get them to integrate with society. Now, I've never been in these classes, so I don't know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
He was still acting like a 20-year-old kid, man. So I don't know.
we don't have much trust in the public school system, so
Yeah, so how
I
can
don't
we
know,
expect the
man.
prison
I don't
system
know.
to be rehabilitation for? This wouldn't even be integration into society. This would be integration into like adulthood. This would be like adulting 101.
Right.
Right? It wouldn't be like, hey, how do you handle the kid next to you that's yelling at you? It's like, hey,
Right.
how do you pay your bills? And this is what
Yeah.
like a credit card is. Right? That's
Yep.
wow.
It's crazy, man.
God, that's a
crazy.
big problem. And so yeah, wow, consistent problems that we always don't talk about. Good insight, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's so hard for people to stay. I mean, yeah.
I feel bad for the homies because like a lot of the homies that go in and out, right? I always talk to them and I go, like, I don't know if they gone in or out, but I can kind of tell like there's a little bit of a difference in, I won't call it mature level, but like, like I'll be on A and you be on B, and I'm like, well, I was on B like when I was 20, and I'd be like, why are you not on A with me? Like, why are we not talking about this and that, a third? It makes sense now, right? Because if you're constantly in the struggle and you in and out like that, you would have limitations, even if it wasn't 4-year spats.
Right.
You wouldn't be having life experiences that
crazy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I posted it, man. He has my prayers, and so does Princess Latifah. I just really hope he's able to God, I hope he's like able to establish some relationships with people, and I mean, hopefully, even though the relatives he knew have died, I mean, hopefully there's like grandchildren or nieces or nephews that will look out for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah. So what else is new? Let's look at that. Segue. Bam.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, okay.
No, go ahead, Rizzo. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask a question, but if you got something, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Mine was gonna be.
All I was gonna ask is, so I was watching MSNBC when I came home. So are they trying to get Trump on other things now? It's like that since I see it. It's on there. Like the lady who I guess he, I don't know what he did to some lady.
Oh, she's still trying to get him for rape.
Dude, New York is on him. They're like,
everybody.
They're trying to get him for all the little stuff, tax evasion.
They should try and get him for all of the above. Yeah, tax evasion and voter fraud. Yeah, they're trying, man. But
so, and in that with the lady, there was something about that lady that I guess she's gonna try to file something against him too. So he's about to go through it for the next 4 years. He's gonna be in a fight.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that his constituency is still very strong, which is amazing to me. Like, how does that work?
I mean,
I still till this day don't understand how he got so strong. I mean, I don't know. He got him scared, like he a mob boss or something. He got him.
You know why?
What?
Because they do have somewhere along the lines, they do have some stake in that. They have some money involved in that. They have something that they have a chance to lose, and that's why there's people still supporting him as far as like legally. Like there's still people that I think that they have like oh, but they
like you're talking about Rudy and the whole bunch. they're all in cahoots with him, and they all got to go down with the ship.
Yeah, like that, and then like like maybe some properties or some type of investment. There's something that they're just like, "Oh, well, we're they're trying to look out for him, because if he goes down, then they go down, and then all the shit's gonna come out. That all the shit's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah, because
Yep,
he's
yep.
picking them up and shit left and right and doing some illegal shit, and they all know it. It makes sense. I could see
That's
that.
what I think it is too.
Mm-hmm. So all these people that are with him, and yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see it. Let's get them all in trouble.
Hope
think
so.
Yeah.
But shit, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's frustrating to me. I mean, there's just this concept with what I don't understand sometimes about the Democrats. It's like, if you don't do something when you know you're going to lose. I mean, I think everybody knew they were going to lose this impeachment thing. They just shouldn't have done it, as far as
They kind of needed to do it though, because I'll tell you why. I agree with you in the fact that they always pick losing options, right? Like they always roll the dice knowing that the dice is rigged. That's kind of, I don't think they went into this one betting to win. I think they went into this one, like the lady said, exposed on an expose. Like, we're just gonna expose you and spend this time with this video. There's no, what I mean? Because like, what else could they have done? They didn't have the audience.
Yeah, there's not much they could have done.
I don't know. I just feel like, like, okay, do you look worse? I feel like they look worse by doing something and losing than by not doing. And that's a question, which I am not sure
That's
about.
a good question.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you are an informed voter. So take your mindset out of the informed voter and put your mindset into the voter that doesn't really watch the news and watch that because it was on ABC interfering in their soaps. And that was the first time they really saw the riots, right?
Oh, I think everybody saw it.
I don't think so. I don't think. No,
I didn't see it.
Remember that we're Californians. We're interested in that. There's a lot of people that my mom didn't know anything.
I just try and look at everything as like, they just need to think about like, okay, how can they get stronger? To me, that would just be the one thing. Like, okay, how can you get more votes? How can you try and like build the Democratic Party? Not that I think it's the greatest either. I mean, so would that do that? No.
They are never going to be able to come back to the 2008 era because they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
I think
Obama's highlight, that was the Democrats' highlight, 2008. I don't think you'll ever.
Quite possible. What were you going to say?
Okay,
Chris?
so the thing that I learned about when, because I helped someone with their campaign, and what I was seeing is that, and this is like something that I saw, that I was like, okay, this was me last year. And so when I would speak to people, they're just like, I don't care. Like, a vote is a vote. I'm not getting involved. And so they were more focused on what happened with the 4-year election, and if that. Yeah. And it would just be like, a lot of people, it was just like whoever's president, that was what they were focused on. They weren't focused on the Senate. They weren't focused on local elections. They weren't focused on anything else. It was just like, okay, we need to vote for a president, and that was it. And it wasn't because they didn't care. It was one, people think politics are politics and it's just going to be the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you think that way, then that's how it's going to be. The second thing is that people also don't understand, and they need it broken down to them into a way that they can understand. So, and when I say that, I mean, like, for example, like how it relates to that person. So this may affect you in purchasing a home, or this may affect you in your job or your whatever. And so this is why you need to understand what's going on here. And so being able to communicate with people where they can relate to that in their own current situation is how we need to communicate with people, because I'll tell you, like, I'm pretty sure about 70 to 80, maybe more % of people that live in Vallejo do not work in Vallejo. They have to commute. They have kids. They don't have time to sit here and read articles about what's going on here and there, whatever. They need it like just given to them in little doses to where they understand this is how it affects me, and this is where I need to put my focus on. And this is, it just needs to be broken down to people, because it's hard for them to understand. Like, it was hard for me to understand. Had it not been for COVID, I would have never gotten involved in local politics or anything like that, because I had the time to, and I was able to be exposed to people that were able to explain it to me. And so that's where we need to be able to, like, some people need to be able to, maybe not me, but some people need to be able to, explain it to others. And then they're just like, oh, now I get it. Now I understand why we need to address so many things with the city, and how.
No, that was.
It's just like
it makes sense, because
like it needs to be broken down for people to understand that are not able to consume it in the way that some people can, And that's how you get more people involved, when they realize, they're like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
And I think, even speaking on that, if we had some definitive things that we could like point to, like, hey, this is the kind of things that you should be looking for, because this is what you're interested in, right? This is what he's doing. It's kind of like how Trump says, I'm the Christian president, I'm the law and order guy, I'm this guy, I'm that guy, like, vote for me because this is my thing. We don't have definitive things that we can check off and go, okay, we want you because this is what you do. You feel me? Like, he always has like these slogans he tells everybody, and they go, yeah, man, Trump, he's for us. And I go, he's a billionaire. But then they go, no, but this is what he likes. And they list off all of the things that he's been repeating to them to list off. And it's like, why don't we have a list like that?
Yeah.
But that's the other thing too, is that there with him came with this divide, and we're on this team. And it's like, but if you sit back and you think about like all of the people that are going through all of these different things, they want to see things happen. They want to see things happen. And it's like, you can think how you want to think about this and how you think about that, but what about these things that we know need to happen? Like, when it comes to education, when we need to have programs come back into the community, we need to do things in the community. Like, if we focus on that, and then you have your opinion about certain things, you side with whoever political person you want to, and then keep that separate. But then we know right here is where we focus on the things that we know need to be done.
That's a middle
because
ground.
If we did that, we could have so much done here.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I would like for Vallejo to be like the place where people just like look, and they're just like, it's kind of where people just look and they're like, oh, this is where we will model off of. They went from here to here, that's what I want it to be. I would like for that to happen. And so in order for that to happen, is that people who have disagreements on whatever, but still want to see positive things happen for the community, they have to come together and just like put those things to the side.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Hey, I live in Concord. It's a whole different dichotomy out here. So yeah.
Vallejo's crazy.
I know. I can tell. I can see.
Yeah.
Concord's kind of a weird mixture too, man. We got how is it that we got to chop it up with the mayor, and at the same time, Concord has its history, its racial history past? I don't know. It's just weird.
I know. Yeah, the mayor didn't the mayor Concord came on Duck Soup, right?
Yeah. He sounds
Yeah.
good. Yeah. It's a new Concord. Come on, it's a family-friendly Concord.
That's cool.
But again, it still holds those old troops, right? So it's like, how do we in Vallejo, you guys have an opportunity to build a city that is an ideal replication of what all cities could be, because it could be a middle ground city, right? Where everybody has a voice. You have a clusteritude of people on the marina that are kind of wealthy, with a bunch of people that are on the inland in South Vallejo and such that, you know, are hardworking. And you need both of those groups to sort of come together in order to brand a new vibe that everybody can relate from. I wish Concord would have been like that, because right now it's just a bunch of rich people right now take control of everything and tell us where we can live. Here you go, Monument. That's where you can go.
There's like
You
three
know,
or
it's like,
four former staffers of this employees of the Vallejo city manager that are suing him. I mean, it's crazy, man. Yeah.
yeah. So every city has its woes. I mean, I don't think any city really does, unless you're on the up end of the city, right? If you're on the good side. Like, what if you lived in Vallejo, what would be the ideal person to live in Vallejo? Like, who is like
I love Vallejo. I like living here a lot. But
like San Jose tech guy, right? Making a lot of money, lives in a nice house. Walnut Creek, probably some lawyer, right? Or doctor, right? Plastic surgeon, got access to John Muir, live in Walnut Creek, loves all the accessibility. Who is making the ends in Vallejo and be like, man, I love fucking Vallejo. Look at me, I'm balling. Who's doing that?
well, a lot of people like
Vallejo's more of a middle class town, it seems like to me.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's no like career, like I said, a lot of people work outside of Vallejo, where even if it's like with the medical field or whatever, they work outside of Vallejo. And so the people that are moving here,
so what happens when you're
because the people that are moving here, they're moving from Peninsula, they're moving from San Francisco, and they've sold their houses, and now they're moving out here, and they're able to buy houses out here for cash and pay over asking. And so the people that live here, they can't afford to move out of their rental, and they can't afford to stay in Vallejo. And so it's just like, what do we want to see in Vallejo?
where the fuck
We want it to be diverse, right? But then we don't want people coming from Antioch working at Starbucks. We don't want that, because that's the same shit that happened in Oakland.
Yeah. You guys need people that are actually, you need businesses in Vallejo.
Yes.
That's all you guys, that's what you really need. Because you can't get a city, your city's resources, your financial resources are being depleted without any kind of taxation from the businesses around it. I've been around there. Yeah, that's not gonna work. And Marine World doesn't operate enough for you guys to get that kind of residual.
No.
Marine World. It's not Disneyland.
And then we have certain people monopolizing on the property that they own downtown and in certain businesses, certain properties and throughout the city. And it's just like,
Hey,
doesn't leave any room for growth.
Yeah. You know what, Discovery Kingdom?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know they mostly hire people from other countries
really
to work there?
I didn't
It's
know that.
weird, man, because when I was working there a long time ago, I was doing inspections there and stuff. And they used to get people from like Africa, and they would get them a hotel room, like a bunch of staff, and they would work there over the summer and stuff.
Wow.
And it was because people
what?
down here didn't want to work there. They didn't want to work there.
Let me tell you something. That's crazy that you said that. So that is a blueprint for a lot of these businesses that are really wealthy. It's actually a summer camp thing. Started into the summer camps. I used to work for a tech company that would have a summer camp, and they would hire people from Canada. They'd hire people from, they fly them in, right? And like, yeah, you go work at Berkeley for a week and just like, we'll pay for your dorm and shit. Instead of hiring locals. Like, I was one of the locals, but not everybody. I work with more people from London and shit in Canada than locals. So that's a practice by businesses that don't want to abide by maybe local taxation rules. Like I bet you there's
Right.
right where if you hire international, you don't have to pay for like an employee tax or some shit like that. I bet it's got to be an easy voucher somewhere. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Were they foreign exchange students or were they just like, were they adults?
It was weird. They were like kind of like kids, maybe like, you know, maybe like seniors. They seemed like they were seniors, but you could tell that they weren't from Vallejo. It was funny.
It was a
And
legitimate
then one of the girls
program
was
that they were
talking.
hiring program. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
and she couldn't really speak English. But I'm like, what? Yeah, that's what they would do. They would get a bunch of people from other countries.
Mhm.
There was a hotel. There's a lot of hotels and motels around here, so they rent out one of the motels and get them all rooms.
Yeah.
But were
And
they
that's how they would
students?
do it.
Like, were they like in high school?
They looked like they were in high school to me. I never really talked to
I
them
bet you
like
they were
that.
college students, dude. I bet you
Maybe they were
Yeah.
college. I don't know. They looked like they were in high school to me, but it was weird because I was thinking to myself, what about all the people in Vallejo? And I did ask the lady. I did ask one of the ladies, and she told me that a lot of people from Vallejo didn't want to work there. They couldn't get enough people that wanted to work there at the time.
You know what else it is too, bro? Do they have a drug test there?
I don't know.
Transportation issue is a problem too there because my son used to work there.
That's true. They
And-
only have that one bus. You're right.
Yeah,
one-
yeah.
So it's a multitude of things. But I mean, the only reason I bought drug testing on is because we all know we all smoke weed. I smoke fucking weed forever. Those kids out in the international though, they don't fucking hit the tree like we do. They're not. That's not their shit. So unless they're from Amsterdam, right, or like that part. But that's why they're hiring, because I'm telling you, this is a case in the fucking tech camp industry. They hire those kids because they know like they're squarey ass motherfuckers. There's a lot of background things that are happening, right? That our kids are subjected to that stereotype that makes it hard for us, man. It's crazy. It's craziness. But I still got my Six Flags pass.
I've never been there.
No, it's not worth it. It's all right. It's all right. But yeah, that's fucking sad, man. Vallejo Six Flags is the only thing.
There's so much, but there's so many things like people in Vallejo and surrounding cities should not be going to Pinot to bowl. They shouldn't be going to Concord to go to the drive-in movie. Sorry, I know you live in Concord, but we shouldn't have to go there. I do go to the flea market almost every Sunday. So hey, I do patronize Concord.
So,
but I'm just
Vallejo
saying,
doesn't have
like
a bowling
we
alley?
could have so much here.
You should.
And
Well, you know. it is-
No, I was having like little fantasies of like starting a bowling alley, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
bet
thought
you-
Vallejo still had a bowling alley.
no.
Uh,
Oh wait, Roselle, you don't live out here anymore?
Well, I do, but see, when I lived, I don't know. I'm from Richmond, really. So I remember you guys used to have like this bowling alley, but I just never tripped off of it. And I thought it was still there.
You still live out here? You don't know it's here or not?
Yeah, I don't know. I never just went to it, but I was
Wait,
like,
wait.
wow.
I'm tripping off the fact that y'all are talking about a bowling alley and not a skating ring. Where is the skating?
I
rink?
want the skating rink. Yes, a
You know what I
skating
mean?
rink.
That
That's
would
what
be
I'm saying. Like the
cracking
skating
to
rink,
go
a
down
bowling
and
alley.
play.
There's room for a go-kart.
No, we
place.
need to do the
There's room
skating
for all of
with
that.
DJs and like the lights and like bring it back to the, you know, and again, you have to have things that are popping in communities that will support it. That fucking shit will go.
Yes, and
Yes.
everybody like they have a skating group out here
Mhm.
that meets up at least once a month.
Dang, don't give me an
Looking
idea.
like
Where do
I
they
don't-
skate
I don't know
at?
what you're talking. It's
You
called
might
We
have to
Skate.
make an investment.
Sometimes they go to the waterfront. Sometimes they go to the parking lot where the old post office used to be that they turned into a parking lot. So they go there. They have a whole group.
Yo, are you talking about like skateboarders?
No,
No, roller
rink.
skating.
Oh, okay. I see
Around
skateboarders
things.
over there a
That
lot
thing you
too.
go in it circles around and stuff, and if you ain't got a girl, you skate alone. You don't remember it. That's what
Aw.
Man, I hated that shit when I was a kid. I was shy. I was so
It
shy.
was intimidating, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I played in the arcades. I didn't even go on the ring because of that.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna be over here with my virtual pals, Mario and Luigi.
Well, we still need that here. We need for that to happen out here. That's for sure. And that's how we bring in the money from
Yes.
other cities. We got the revenue to get us back because we're getting ready to go into another freaking bankruptcy.
Yeah.
That's about to happen.
So when I
That's
was in
what's gonna
Vallejo
happen.
last, there was the big thing that was popping off were these pop-up sessions, which is like this swap meet where a bunch of marijuana people come together and they sell their product, right? And so we would DJ these events, and the homies that were doing these, they were getting these giant buildings for hella cheap. Like you guys do have cheap rent out there, like cheap business rent. So it wouldn't be hard to really think about getting a bunch of investors, a bunch of you guys together with a little bit of money and going to see a bank and trying to make this pop off. Could be worth it.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now to see
Yeah.
what.
I'm not gonna do it, but you know, I could not deal with like I just couldn't. I'm just not that communal minded, but I
No,
hope
what you do is you get, let's see, how much would you need? Because okay, so SBA wants 10% of your of the down payment. So if you go to SBA and you have a good idea and you got like a business plan and you're ready to go, you say, okay, I've got $15,000. They'll give you 150. So you need
supposedly it's really
5
hard
people
to-
with $3,000 freaking dollars that don't want to do.
SBA.
That's
give
why
you
I'm
the
no
money.
man. I wouldn't do any. I'm just too.
No, what you
lone
do,
wolf.
listen, Anna, what you do is you say, okay, here's my 3,000. I don't want to do shit, but why don't you just give
No,
me
no, nobody's getting my
$500 a
3,000.
month?
I'd
You say,
rather
give
keep
me
it.
$200 a month
No way,
back once
Uh-uh.
after 2 years.
You
of this
give
thing.
some dumbasses $3,000.
Anybody that wants to make an investment towards a bigger business, that would be so awesome. I have $3,000. I would throw
SBA
in.
only caters to
So
those,
what I'm
like,
just saying is that if,
like
you
the-
really guys, if you guys want to make things happen in Vallejo, like you can't.
I've been to
What happened in
SBA
Vallejo?
over a year ago, and they did not want to help me out with my
Oh.
nonprofit.
That's
Okay,
fucked up. What's your
let me ask
nonprofit?
you, do you have a business plan?
I do.
And do you have a 5-year projection? A
I
5-year
don't-
projection is basically like a, you know, how do you see yourself in 5 years? How are you going to accumulate this money back?
Pretty
Is it
much,
money back?
yeah.
Okay, so if you have that, when did you do it? When did you apply?
I haven't yet. I just barely got my. It took me over a year to find my It took me over a year to find my why can't I think right now? My
Yeah, we're actually starting to wind down.
Okay, I'm sorry, Anna. My bad.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
apologize,
all
man.
I'm saying
You
is
totally-
investing,
this
guys,
is
in
an
community investments
awesome
is
show.
great. Invest in yourselves. That would be awesome.
I'm like, I got two big
I know
events
you're not.
planning coming up.
I'm
Yeah,
not making you do it, Anna. I'm not taking 3,000 from you. I promise. You're good. They don't
Yeah,
need that.
because I don't have it.
I know. All right, so let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
We gotta go play video games. I was playing
Yeah.
a dope game before I got on. I want to go play.
Thank you so much for coming on, Spider.
Of
I'll be
course, it's
see
always
you.
fun.
Yeah, we always have a good time. So do you have, okay, so Duck Soup is Saturday nights. Want to tell people where to find it?
Okay, so Saturdays is our normal stuff. Saturdays 8 to 10. Duck Soup, DUKKSOOP on YouTube. But tomorrow, did you hear what we're doing?
No.
Coming in because we're a hip hop, podcast. So we have no other than Wu-Tang member Killer Priest on
Wow.
the
Wu
podcast.
Tang.
Wu-Tang.
Wu Tang.
Wu-Tang.
Cool.
We're gonna do that all night,
Cool.
bro. Oh man, it's gonna be so dope, right? Yes.
That's
Tomorrow,
gonna be live.
Wednesday, 8 to 10, Spyro and Age get to chop it up with Killer Priest. And we're gonna and Jay
Cool.
Fetty. And Jay Fetty. Can't forget the four of us are gonna get together with Killer Priest and chop it up about super hip hop.
Wow, I'll be watching that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Okay.
I'll pass it to you go ahead, sure thing. Who's
I'm just like we're here every Okay, so we're here at Global History every Tuesday night from 8 to 10.
8 to
And-
10.
8 to 10. Yeah. Yeah. Christian, do you have anything you want to announce?
No, not yet.
Okay, not yet. Yeah. She's planning something, guys. She's planning something and hopefully she'll announce it here.
Okay, cool.
There to work.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you
Fun
so
times.
much, you guys.
Of course. Thank
All
you
right,
guys.
y'all.
I'll come in whenever you guys, invite me if I can.
Okay.
You guys are
Cool.
awesome. Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, definitely.